Welcome to this week's marketing training here inside of Get Booked Out, where each week we tackle some sort of marketing question or marketing topic that will help you be more successful in your private practice. Naturally, a lot of the conversation happening in the world, certainly in the life of your practice right now, centers around coronavirus. And there are a lot of challenges right now that I know therapists are facing. We've talked about those each week. You know, when this just started to kind of rear its head, all of you were forced to make adjustments to your practice and move into teletherapy. That was kind of like week one, right? And then people started to say no to teletherapy or no thanks, or start to cancel because their schedules were changing, that sort of thing. And now we're sort of getting into the groove of it. Let me know in the comments if that's not true for you, but I think that we're all finding, hey, Anna, thanks so much for being here. I think we're all sort of realizing, right? And we're being told by authorities and all that we're in this for the long haul. And it's not going to be that, maybe month-long thing that we expected, and then we'd return back to our offices and life would go back to normal. And so it's really important that we continue to be forward thinking about what that means for your practice. Last week we talked about how to up-level your practice amidst this crisis. Things that you can work on with this unexpected slow time. None of us expected to, have clients drop off. I know that has been really tough. You've experienced some loss of income most likely. And so last week it was about, okay, what can I be doing in those downtimes, in the time when yet another client cancels because they're home with their family or they're, just their schedules are messed up or whatever that is. This week, we're going to shift gears into what you can keep doing to create awareness, to attract clients, and to continue to set yourself up for success. That was really the big theme of last week, and that's carrying through into this week. How can you continue to up-level your practice, to think strategically, and to not just be defeated, quite frankly, by a lot of the challenges that you're facing? I want to equip you with information that will help you continue to do that. So that's what we're talking about today. If it's your first time joining, I'm so happy that you're here. My name's Anna Walker. I'm a web and marketing strategist that works with private practitioners just like you to get booked out with clients you love and who love you. And in the season of coronavirus, in the season of COVID-19, we are talking about how to sustain your practice, how to up-level it, how to make sure that you can continue to be successful in the next few weeks, in the next few months, and of course, in the next few years. We are thinking in that way, and this training is all about giving you the tools to do that. So if you are finding yourself, if you have woken up in the morning or kicked back last Friday after finally the week was over and felt like you kind of just lost direction or even just motivation when it comes to marketing your practice, you feel really overwhelmed, defeated possibly, and just kind of unsure on how to do that, drop a yes in the comments or let me know if you're feeling that way, because I know that a couple of the clients I've talked to have felt that way. I myself have kind of struggled with like a loss of creativity and trying to figure out sort of what to do here. So if you feel that way, certainly you're not alone, because I can tell you that the conversations I've had this week definitely prove that. And you also might feel like maybe you're taking advantage of people if you continue to market yourself. Maybe I just need to sit back and ride this out and take the hit to my income, and I'll just figure this out eventually. So if you're feeling that way, I also know you're not alone, because I've talked to people that feel that way. And the beauty of this is that you don't have to be a jerk, and you can still continue marketing your practice. There's a way to do this if we do it in a strategic way, right? So we know that we're going to be in this for longer than any of us expected. And that's challenging in one way, right? Because you have to continue to adapt. You have to continue to show up, in your living room or your bedroom or your office at home via teletherapy to continue serving your clients. You're likely not going to be back in your office for a few weeks, possibly a few months. The good news, though, is that your clients are also going to adapt too. And things are going to normalize in their lives the same way that they're going to start to normalize in yours. And that means that they're going to start to identify their need for therapy again. It means that they're going to come to their new normal, which is a phrase we're all hearing everywhere, and start to realize, oh yeah, I do need help on that. Or this isolation has actually brought up this problem in my life. And as they establish their own routine, people are going to become more and more open again to the idea of looking for therapy. We're going to still be in a tough spot. And I think it's important that we all be realistic about that. Our economy is struggling. People have lost their jobs. People are suffering in that way. And so there's not going to be, this necessarily this huge uptick in inquiries, but it does mean that people are going to start to look again, right? Those gears are going to kind of start to move again, and you can be there to meet that need as that happens if you're proactive and think in this way about your practice. So that's what I want to talk to you today. I want to kind of walk you through the process I would recommend if you want to continue marketing your practice. I did a poll earlier this week asking how many inquiries you've gotten in the last month, and many of you are less than 10, less than 5, none at all. And we want to change that, or at least we want to set you up for success as your ideal client starts to come out from under the cloud that they've been under, as we've all had to just totally shift our lives. So there's 4 main steps that I would really suggest that you go through when it comes to continuing to market your practice. And this is regardless of the niche that you serve. It's regardless of the number of specialties that you have. It's really just this overarching framework that you can apply and use in your practice in the coming weeks and months. The first step here is to sanitize your message. Pun intended. Kind of a funny one, if you ask me. I love puns. But by sanitizing your message, I mean, this is actually a really just kind of tactical look at everything that you currently have out there in the world. So I want you to review your website, your social media, any other marketing channels that you use for even language that implies things that shouldn't happen right now. So a metaphor like working hand in hand, with your clients, or get in touch. These are very subtle yet very psychologically powerful phrases that we want to avoid in all of your marketing. If you have any images on your website of people in close quarters, of couples, couples is a little bit different, I said, because they're still at home, hopefully together, but really just kind of look at everything and make sure that you scrub things clean and that you're being really, really current and relevant to the life that we're living right now. So you're not only going to remove things, but I also need you to take a look at your marketing and make sure that it is so clear that you provide online therapy that there isn't a question in anyone's mind. This should be at the very top of your website. This should be, noted in your about section of your Facebook page. You should be talking about it in the bio of your Instagram. If you send out emails, this needs to be something that is really, really prominent. We need to make it really, really clear to people that you are still there. I know I've actually been seeing the frame around profile pictures that are going around for therapists right now that say, I'm a teletherapy therapist, I'm here for you. That needs to be everywhere in your marketing. I want anyone that comes into contact with you professionally on the internet to know you offer online therapy. If that's LinkedIn, anywhere you're talked about, make sure that online therapy is really, really clear. That is just the foundation here. So sanitize your message, right? Make sure that we're not saying anything we shouldn't be or implying anything that we shouldn't be, and make sure that it's so clear that you offer online therapy, right? All right, next is more the strategic marketing thing. I want you to develop a persona, which is something we've talked about in this group before, for each of your niches or each of your ideal client types based on what they need right now. Now, what does that mean? That means I want you to think about, say you are a couples therapist or an anxiety therapist, whatever it is that you do. I want you to think about, okay, I'm a couples therapist, so Jack and Jill are my ideal clients. What are Jack and Jill struggling with right now? What are they struggling with right now? They're in close quarters, so there might be more bickering. They are struggling in their job and might have some resentment if one is working and the other isn't. What are they waking up and doing every morning? They're waking up and not having a routine anymore. They're out of routine. I want you to just take yourself through the life, the day of your ideal client and think about what are they struggling with and what do they need right now. One thing I want to be really, really clear about here is that we are not leveraging the pandemic here, and we are not exploiting it in our marketing. Yes, you're going to talk about COVID-19 probably in some of your marketing, but it should not be the theme of what it is that you're putting out there into the world. So as you develop these personas, just think about what are they facing right now and what can I be aware of? What needs might they have? What questions or struggles might they have? What triumphs have they had lately? Maybe they're thriving because they're an introvert, and you can speak into that. But what I want you to do is to get to know your ideal client as they currently exist really, really well. And I want you to bullet out what it is that they're facing, what are some challenges right now, and what do they ultimately need? That is going to direct the rest of your marketing that you do. The very next step I want you to take is updating your Psychology Today profile to focus on these messages. Now, again, we're not exploiting the pandemic here. I don't really think COVID-19 or coronavirus should be in your profile whatsoever, right? We're not talking about the pandemic. We're talking about the issues that are arising that are causing them to be like, I do need a therapist right now, right? And yes, is it going to be current and relevant to the current situation we all find ourselves in? Absolutely. But you're not exploiting it, right? A really good example that I actually thought of, I always watch Wheel of Fortune. Any Wheel of Fortune people in here? It's my thing. My husband's like, 6:30, gotta watch Wheel of Fortune. But there is, I noticed that Comcast Xfinity has switched their campaign. They had previously been running one prior to the pandemic around security, your Wi-Fi being really, really secure, and just kind of hitting on that. That was the main marketing message. They have since totally switched that to staying connected is more important than ever right now. And the imagery that they're using and the story they're telling in that campaign are, grandparents FaceTiming their grandchildren, families being together, family relying on the internet in order to, be with their friends, whatever that is. See, they're not exploiting it. They're not talking about coronavirus. They're just realizing our customers don't care about security right now. They care about being together. And our service, right, their Wi-Fi can help meet that need. That's how I want you to think about your marketing. Not what can I say about COVID-19, but what's my ideal client, struggling with right now? How can I meet them where they are, right? And so what I want you to do is to update your Psychology Today profile to focus on those pain points, those challenges, and those needs. The reason I suggest Psychology Today is because Psychology Today, different than your website, is a very flexible platform. I offer a Psychology Today profile template that I totally believe in. It follows a framework that has been proven to work. But the fact is that you can go in and iterate on your Psychology Today profile, update it, tweak it according to what's going on in the life of your practice. If you serve 2 different client types, you can choose to focus your Psychology Today profile on one of them that you want to build your caseload for. If you realize that one ideal client is more likely to use Psychology Today, you can gear it towards them. Psychology Today is really, really flexible, and for that reason, it can also be really, really relevant and really, really timely, whereas your website needs to stay kind of your identity as a practice, and hopefully that's not changing as a result of the coronavirus. So that's why I'm telling you, do not go rewrite your entire website to focus on coronavirus issues, but think of the fact that Psychology Today is likely the first place someone's going to land when they Google. Often Psychology Today appears before any private practice in Google results. They're likely going to be landing there. So how can you connect to what's motivating them to look for a therapist now? As this cloud lifts, as they realize that they do in fact need some help, what do they need help with? Okay, that's what I want you to look at your Psychology Today profile and update it with, is what is relevant to them right now. The good news is that as hopefully, we get over this hump of COVID-19 and, the numbers start to go down and things start to go back to normal, and hopefully you're able to be back in your office, we'll just shift your Psychology Today profile again. We might need to have an entire training on how to market when the economy is not in great shape, right? We might need to talk to those problems, but where we are right now, I want you to think about, what does my ideal client need and how can I resonate with them? How can I connect with them on that level? It shows that you understand them. And as we've talked about time and time again in this group, that is what marketing is. It's about proving that you understand the problems that your client is facing. So what problems are they facing right now? Bring that into your Psychology Today profile. And from there, start to think about what you can provide that's valuable to them outside of Psychology Today. I talked about this last week and I'm going to hound on it again. Step 1 of how to uplevel your practice amidst this crisis is to get visible and to be valuable, right? So getting visible means that you need to be on Psychology Today. You need to be on social media. If you're comfortable emailing your clients, you need to be doing that. You need to be getting out in front of people, because this is not the time to go dark, because you are going to establish yourself in the minds of your clients if you can show up and not just be visible, but be valuable. And the easiest way to be valuable is to know what problems they're facing and to provide content that helps them overcome it. Maybe if you're a couples therapist, maybe you provide 5 things to do when a fight breaks out in close quarters. Give them some tactical tools they can put into action in their practice, in their life, that it displays your expertise and the fact that you understand what's going on in their life right now. We want to give really timely, valuable, and relevant advice to these people right now, because even if they're not in the position to pick up the phone and call you and pay you right now for your services, by being valuable, you are establishing yourself as the expert in this space. So after the pandemic, or if they're Zoom calling with a friend who's like, my husband and I are about to kill each other, I have to talk to someone, who are they going to think of? They're going to think of you, because you have shown them that you're valuable, that you ultimately have their best interest at heart. You're not saying, oh, call me if you want help. You're just giving it freely, right? There's an open-handedness to it that is so, so, so powerful in marketing and is proven to be a really, really effective tactic. It's called content marketing. You know, it's why people write blog posts and are really successful in private practice, because you're putting yourself out there and providing value, and people aren't going to fix their lives on their own. A lot of them aren't. Some of them will, and that's wonderful. And that's not your ideal client. Your ideal client is the client that's going to read those things, consume them, put them into action in their life, but realize they also need some additional help, and then they're going to reach out to you. But it's that value that is the connection point. So as you think about what your ideal client is struggling with, start to create content, social media posts, emails, whatever that might be, blog posts that speak to those relevant needs. Be relevant right now and be empathetic. If that's really the 1-2 punch, is relevancy and empathy right now. How can you empathize with the fact that this is hard right now? This is hard right now. I want to help you. And here's how I can help you. Here are things to do. Here's why I am an expert in this space. Those are the 4 steps I really, really suggest you go through as you're thinking about continuing to market yourself in this new normal. As your clients start to, kind of come out from under their, clouds that they've been in, I want you to sanitize your message, make sure everything is, relevant to what's going on and isn't implying anything we don't want it to. Make sure that online therapy is loud and clear from every single marketing channel that you use. Then develop personas for each of your ideal clients where you get really, really thoughtful and creative about the problems that they're facing right now. Then I want you to update your Psychology Today profile to focus on those messages, not the pandemic, but the messages themselves, the challenges that they're having, and meeting them on that really, really relevant level of the problems that they're having. And then extend that into all of your marketing channels. Get active on social media, get active on your blog, start emailing people, connect with other therapists in your area that could benefit from your expertise, but start getting creative about content that focuses on the problems of the now. And know that we can pivot as needed. This doesn't mean that every single thing you post, from here on out has to be centered around, staying at home. Hopefully it won't, right? But right now that's what's relevant to your people, so that's what we want to provide them. So those are the 4 steps I really, really suggest that you go through here. If you have any questions, I would love to chat with you here in the comments. It looks like we don't have any. Tracy said having trouble biting the bullet to pay for Zoom when finances is so bad. Zoom has been, I've seen a lot of talk about Zoom, about kind of some challenges, and I know that their bandwidth has been down and prices are high and that kind of thing, but I've also heard that some free programs and platforms have had trouble as well. So I know that's a really hard space to be in right now, especially when finances for you are tight, not just for your client, but for you as a business owner. So just continue navigating that, but also realize that we're going to need to be in this, reality for a while now. So think about what you can be doing to support your practice, and ultimately what you can be doing to support your clients in this time. That also certainly highlights the fact that above all else right now, make sure you're taking care of the clients that you do have, right? They're your bread and butter right now. We want to make sure that they are getting the absolute best from you, that you're able to provide them within your boundaries, of course, but make sure that you're really giving them an experience that when it comes time to continue with you, when it comes time to refer you or whatever that is, that you are top of mind for them and that you've given them an experience that has really helped them through this season that we're all experiencing together. So friends, I hope that this was helpful. Be encouraged that this isn't going to last forever, and be encouraged that even in the midst of this, you can still continue to see success. It's going to be different. Success is going to look different right now than it did, a month or 2 or 3 ago, but you can still continue to gain traction and get that ball rolling in the life of your practice. Connect with the people that you most want to work with, and ultimately establish yourself as the expert in your niche, in your area. I am cheering for you. I think of you and the work that you do every single day, and I know that it's important. Your clients are lucky to have you, and I would love to support you in any way I can. So if you have any questions, ideas, thoughts, drop them in the comments, shoot me an email, whatever that is. I appreciate each of you. Enjoy your weekend. I'll talk to you next week.